In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Moon Tea podcast. Today we have Ben Goldberg. And
what's up?
Yeah, just really quick off the bat, seems like Ben is doing a lot of really cool things in life. He runs an app called rankpic. He's a friend of Diana's, so instantly a cool person. Interested in traveling, is from Michigan. Hey Ben.
Hey, definitely put knowing Diana at the top of that cool things list. Awesome. Great episode previously.
Yeah, do you mind just introducing yourself, and we can go from there.
Sure. I'm Ben. I'm a software engineer right now. I work at a company called Saildrone. I'm friends with Diana, who is on last week's podcast. I, my own time, work on an app called rankpic, which I built and designed from the ground up. And it is for ranking your own photos so you can know which photo is best to put on a dating site. So you would, upload something like 1 to 2 to 4 photos, something like that. And then other people will crowdsource their opinions and let you know which of the 2 to 4 photos is the best one. Beyond that, as you said, I love traveling. I've done a couple 3-4 month long solo trips in my life. Big impact on me there. I've also had a bit of a hopping around in my career. I've been in about 4 or 5 different industries, depending on how you count them. Enjoyed the heck out of all of them. Have a decent amount to say about that. And that's me.
That's so cool. I love that. I'm actually so excited. So a quick little backstory. Diana completed her episode last time, and we're like, we're looking for some new people, if anything. And she's like, oh, I have some really cool people. Let me ask. And then Ben was reached out to, and he's just like, yeah, I'm down. And so now we're here. And so just for anyone who might be like a new listener, just kind of interested, like, what is this even about? This is a podcast called the Moon Tea Podcast, where we talk about craft, community, building meaningful careers. And right now, Ben seems like the perfect person to have on this episode. And something that I feel like a lot of our listeners like to kind of enjoy first is to learn a bit more on the craft side, things what people are building on a personal, huzzah, what you're gung-ho about, your passion projects. And then if we wanted to maybe talk more about like community, exploration, how you even made it to where you got to, and or the paths and journeys and experiences abroad, and then maybe wrapping it all up into whatever else we decide to tangent into. How does that sound?
Yeah, it's great. Love the idea of the podcast. And Diana reached out. It's just such a cool idea. And being on a podcast, that's awesome.
Well, to our 11 to 12 listeners now, the question that
didn't tell me there would be 10, 11 listeners.
Dude, we're pretty viral, right? It's crazy. But so to start, I'm kind of curious of what is the how did you end up creating this rankpic project? Like, what was your journey to even become a person? I'm guessing you're a full stack developer that designed and developed the app. Curious about what the tech stack might be, because we're a bit nerdy here too on this podcast, but also what was the journey of you? Did you self-teach yourself? How did you even get into deving?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start from the top. I've been a software engineer for about 3.5, 4 years now. I originally did a bootcamp, primarily focused on JavaScript. And then kind of career-wise, I went and I got a regular job doing a web app, and now I work at more of a cool job doing autonomous drone engineering. And then through both those jobs, I've been building side projects. So I've built a couple different side projects, really I went into software engineering because I had all these side project ideas percolating in my head, and I was like, someone needs to build this. And then I was like, let me hire someone to build this. And then I was like, they cost like $300,000 a year. Can't do that at all. So I guess I'll go learn it and build it myself. Now, the first two of those side projects did not pan out at all. I thought they were cool, but they just didn't pan out. They did, however, get uploaded to the app stores, and despite being totally not usable in their current state, they needed like business partner buy-in for them to actually work. They got like hundreds of downloads, and I was like, that's crazy. There's 100 downloads by people that can't actually use these apps just because they were searching for similar keywords and thought this app looked pretty and downloaded it, but then literally couldn't do anything. You needed to scan like a business's QR code, and no businesses were on the app. So then I was like, you know what? Like, I just want to build something that users will use, that was useful to me, that like I can get out there and without anyone else's buy-in, like will just make people happy and will be usable. I guess to continue on here, I have had the unfortunate experience of dating in New York City. And it is tough for, I don't know if y'all too have been through the app online dating gauntlet here.
Just dating scene in general, especially with the like tech mobile dating scene. It's another realm, especially all the different dating apps out there too. I feel you.
Yeah, a lot going on. So with that and the advent of kind of your online profile becoming kind of the main way people first engage with you as a human, oftentimes, especially in the dating world, I wasn't having a lot of success, so I turned to a website and friends to kind of help me figure out what my best photos are, to curate my best photos, going on Reddit, asking people like, hey, which of these two photos is better, and then after doing that, I realized like, hey, there's a big market for this. There's a lot of people that want this. There's a lot of people that, want to improve themselves and their online presence, but don't have a lot of friends of the opposite sex that will, or friends who are attracted to them or attracted to their gender, that will let them kind of know if these photos are good for them, or friends at all, that they don't feel comfortable asking and aren't embarrassed to ask to improve their online presence. So I created this app called rankpic. And, the basis, as I said in the beginning, you upload a couple photos, and then that creates a test, and other people on the app are going to look through these photos you uploaded, and they're going to rank the photos, from best to worst. And then you see what in the aggregate, after maybe 20 other people ranked your photos, which photo is the best. You get to choose what types of people are ranking your photos. You can choose people attracted to men, people attracted to women. You can choose, let's say you don't want people, your coworkers or your friends, to see that you're on this app. You want to be private. So you can say people outside of New York State, or people outside of the US entirely, like they can't vote on my photos. You can choose people born, like 18 to 35-year-olds can vote on or rank my photos, etc. And then, most importantly, it doesn't give you your photo absolute value ranking, like 1 to 10. It gives your photos relative rankings relative to your other photos. So, there exist sites that give your photos like a hot or not, like 0 to 10 type ranking. I didn't want that. I had uploaded my photos to sites like that, and, like, you're a 4. Like, oh, great. Like, I can't wait to put this photo on a dating site now. It's my best photo. All the rest were 3s, but But a 4 doesn't feel good and doesn't fill me with confidence on first dates. So, people are scared to use these types of things. And so mine is like, this photo performed 80% better than like your other 2 photos. This is your best foot forward. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, Ben, I um just taking everything in. I also went to a coding bootcamp like 5 years ago, and just want to say you're kind of like the best case scenario of someone hoping to go to a coding bootcamp, because yeah, you get the job out of it, but then you also have the tools to like look at different problems and then be like, oh, I can build something that addresses this. So like, props to you for following through with that. Like Hugh and I have also had side projects, and the one that stuck around is this podcast.
That's amazing. Just taking any project and sticking with it is like tough. And y'all have been doing this for well over a year now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we get to connect with people like you, so super rewarding. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. It seems like if you're able to filter by age and region and all of that, then you actually have like a meaningful user base. I'm curious what you're trying to build this out to. Like, is this like a fun side project that where you pay for the Apple like developer account, and then it's kind of like a goodwill thing, or are you trying to like be able to buy like beer money from it? Is it like yeah, like how are you thinking about where you want to take this?
So my thinking on that has evolved. I started off with just, get a single user. Like I just want one random user that I don't know to use my app, something that I've built. And that was the only goal. I spent over 8 months building an application with that being the single North Star goal. And I mean, you have listeners on this podcast that I'm sure that feels amazing. It was the same for me. And I accidentally got my first users. Actually, I had pushed my app to the App Store, and I was still doing testing, and I had told no one about it, and I didn't do any advertising, nothing. And I'm just like, going through photos, like testing random flower pictures that I uploaded and ranking them, and then like I just see some random dude's pictures on there, and I'm like, what is happening here? How someone hacked my and I looked through the logs, and turns out just some random person downloaded it and was like, I need these photos ranked. And that was kind of the start. So since then, I've just been focused on creating kind of the best user experience. I don't know where it will go. Like I don't make any money off of it right now. I would really need a much heavier volume of users to make real money on it. I'm in fact mostly losing money on hosting and everything. But
Yeah, images are not free to host.
no, but I'm getting a lot out of it personally. So that's just been a great feeling. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just happy to see someone like have a side project that has users, and like props to you for doing all that. Like Hugh and I had an idea of doing a like a budgeting app, and we just like could not figure out some things. It was like he was good with design, I was good with making like a UI, and then there was a point where we were like, oh, we need to do a little bit of server side work, and then we just both kind of struggled. So I'm sure you had a lot of those instances where you're like, oh, I need to figure out how to do this. Like I've never seen it before. Okay.
Yes. And my biggest advice for that is just to sleep on it. You got to show up every day, but there were like I would say over a dozen times over the 8, 9, 10 months. I mean, now over a year that I've been developing this app, where I thought I reached something that was just fundamentally going to screw up, like, and just be a showstopper for the app. And you go to bed, go on a walk, give it a week, talk to some other people, and suddenly, like, not a big problem at all. Solved.
I love that. That's amazing. I think it's so cool that you're the full stack dev, right? And UI. Yeah, nice. I'm kind of curious, just from a bit of a nerdy point of view, what's the tech stack? Is it in React Native or?
Yeah, entirely React Native.
Nice.
There's some Firebase kind of Lambda functions in there. There's SQL and non-SQL databases attached to it for various purposes.
So you're supporting Android and iOS?
Yeah.
I've looked at the iOS and Android stores. The iOS store has over 50 reviews, amazing ratings, and the Android store has like 15, 20 reviews, and it's amazing ratings. So, hey, if you haven't, take a look. Rankpic. Let's go. We'll link it in the link below.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Go.
So, yeah, but so it's like you're doing serverless types of databases, which is pretty cool. Is there a reason you kind of decided to go? I have a friend who I mentioned that a gentleman who started and is founding and creating his own mobile app, is coming on, that I work with and is a really good friend of mine. And we're both pretty nerdy there. And his question that he wanted to ask you was there a decision or rationale on why you chose to go native mobile platforms first rather than web platforms?
So as I said, there's kind of like existing website that does this hot or not 0 to 10 ranking for your photos. It doesn't have an app. So one of the big differentiators for mine, besides making you feel good about yourself, and I think which is the right way to go for people's mental health, is also having a supported app first kind of development, which is where you store your photos. How easiest thing to do, you're on Tinder, you're on Hinge, you're on Bumble on your phone. That's where you have all your application photos.
I just imagine Ben with like the most amazing like Hinge profile. Like just amazing photos.
Towards the end, it did get pretty good. I would say. I met my current girlfriend from there, and she's pretty.
Hey,
that's so cute.
Shout out, Shira.
Oh, yeah. This is too cute.
You have a 13th listener, just by the way.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, Shira?
What up?
Dude, there we go. So happy for you. Like I just yeah. Like Hugh, I'm sure we both feel the same way. It's like here's a guy who like saw a problem, like spent 8 months working on a solution for it, and then it's fruitful. Like, I mean, Ben, you also seem like just like a really great guy. So I'm sure it would have worked out for you without it. But like, you have this cool story behind it. You get to be on the podcast and talk about it as well. So
yeah, I actually, 2 interesting things kind of happened recently regarding this. Is one, I have a competitor whose app name I won't mention, but they're worse. And they reached out and they wanted to join forces, which I thought was fun and interesting. I was like, heck no. Yeah. But it's cool.
It is a little bit of an ego boost though, right?
Yeah. I didn't ask them to join forces. They came to me.
Oh, yeah. We feel the same way when we get like once in a while we'll get like a really spammy like promotional thing. It'll be like, oh, we'll pay you to promote this thing, and like the email's just badly written, and then I'll forward it to Hugh and be like, dude, check this out, like it's so cool.
So basically what John's saying is you're at the next level where real people are reaching out with quality stuff. We're getting there.
It all counts. It's all an amazing feeling. Someone cares about what you've built.
More they care about stealing
Even
our
if
money.
we're losing money, we're losing time. It just feels good.
Okay, we gotta celebrate all the little wins.
Yeah, that's so funny. Oh man, that's so cool. Cool.
And then the second interesting thing that happened recently is a French newspaper reached out to write an article about it. I don't know French. I don't know, like, I might know 2 people who speak French. So that was interesting. It's just like nice to have like random people in random places hearing about you.
Oh my God, it begins.
Yeah. Do you have a large audience in France?
I do have like a big European user base. It's about split like Europe, US, but I'm constantly like, every once in a while I'll be on the app looking through some photos and I'll be like, wow, I want to visit that place. I want to visit that place. I want to visit that place. The US pictures are less interesting. It's, like, oh,
Yeah,
that suburb.
they all kind of look the same. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Architecturally, we can only get so far in 350 years, right? 250, excuse me. Yeah.
It's actually really wild what photos people will upload. Like just the quality level difference. Like someone will upload a photo of them smiling in beautiful lighting, like at the Grand Canyon, like looking fantastic. And then another photo of themselves, like mirror selfie, and like, but with like an angle where you can see their jawline.
Ooh la la.
Like, which one's better? I genuinely don't know. My jaw looks good in this one. Everything else is amazing in this other one. I look like a fantastic person to hang out with. Like, rankpic, please help. And it's been so interesting just to see like what people focus on when they look at their own photos versus how other people kind of looking at their photos, what they see.
And I imagine that's a large part of what the filtering is helping out with, because yeah, depending on who's on the other side, like the decision's gonna look really different. So that is super cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have any go for it, sorry, John.
Oh, go for it, Hugh.
No, please, after you, sir.
I was gonna change the topic to traveling, but if you have something on the dev and like rankpic.
I just had the final question then do you have any like testimonials or any success stories other than yourself that might engage any listeners kind of?
I think my best testimonial is just how many repeat users I get. Like most users that use the app, I'll see them coming back a month later, 3 months later. They'll get new photos, add them in, kind of mix them up with existing, and even just seeing users that use it a lot within 1 week to set up their initial dating profile, you can really see just how much better their photos get over that week. Like they're uploading their side jaw selfies at the beginning of the week, and at the end of the week they have beautiful lighting, smiles, looking at the camera. You really just want to be their friend. It's just really nice and feels good to be helping people.
I love that. If anybody is tuning in on a streaming platform that's not YouTube with video, just know that Ben, when he just said that, lit up. Like you can see the amount of care and passion he cares about this project. So that's actually a really good sign. If not, we would have booted you out right now. Would have been done. Finito. No, I'm just kidding. It's awesome. You're awesome. Cool. Community.
Ben, I was gonna go on the travel topic, but Ben, did you mention that you work on automated drones? Is that what you said earlier?
I do. I just actually finished a presentation for my job right at the beginning of this podcast, where I was demoing some new software. But I work for a company called Saildrone. We make autonomous surface area vehicles. We're the only company in the world that does it pretty much. We build these drones fully integrated. They can sail for, over a year without needing to dock. They run on completely renewable energy, just wind power. They have over 20 different sensors in their sensor suite, in their regular sensor suite, but depending on the mission we send them on, they could have many more. And they do things like study climate change, tracks illegal fishing and smuggling, patrolling borders for even the US Navy. We do tracking like whales and fisheries. There's just a whole bunch of cool stuff that these boats do. And I'm definitely very junior on this team, and just loving all the learning and being able to contribute to something.
What side of the software are you working on?
So I'm mostly working on data stuff right now. So kind of a big data pipeline. We have a fleet of over 100 drones, and that's going to grow to over 2,000 pretty soon. And they collect a lot of data, and we have to get all that data, parse it, turn it into actionable items depending on our customer. So I work on a maritime domain awareness team, and we try to figure out what ships are around us for the smuggling or Navy applications, etc. And so we need to take data from all the drones, and they can use their different sensors like radar, radio frequencies, visual, and other sensors that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, and take, and we create a image of other ships so that we can figure out what's going on in the waters automatically. And kind of the big selling point that to run manned science vessels or manned vessels for the Navy to do the same type of work can easily be over 50 grand a day when you factor in the people and the size of the boat needing to accommodate these people, versus our ships, which are 6,000-7,000 a day to run on renewable energy, so no climate emissions, and can go for years at a time.
That is amazing. That just sounds so cool.
Yeah, I feel really lucky to be able to work on it.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. Well, we only have so much time. I'm also curious about you're traveling, like you mentioned that you've spent like you've gone on like several month-long solo trips. Yeah, do you mind just sharing about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Love talking about myself. So I did kind of my first big solo trip to South America when I was 22. And it wasn't always like a solo trip for the full duration. I grew up in Israel actually, and so I have a lot of friends in Israel. And in Israel, it's very common after you do the army service to go traveling. And that matched up with me right after college. And so all of us together kind of went in a big group of about 6 people or something, starting at the very southernmost tip of South America. And then worked our way up Patagonia, cut over to Buenos Aires, and then went up to Bolivia and Peru. And then kind of right in the middle there after Buenos Aires, I split off from my group and traveled solo and really learned a lot about myself. Forget which philosopher says it, but if you really want to know who you are and what other people think of you, walk 1,000 miles until you don't know anyone, and when you're really just left to you and your personality with no network, and in places where the customs aren't familiar to you, and you really figure out on if people like you, if you like being around other people, like what you actually like doing. So
I'm guessing you speak some Spanish.
I do. I'm losing more and more of it every day, but while I was there, I was speaking primarily Spanish.
That's so cool. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would highly recommend to everyone. Do trips. I've done a solo trip or a group trip between every one of my kind of career changes, and every time I get back, I know so much more about myself. My career improves drastically. You get so much kind of thinking done and clarity about yourself that is hard to get when you're in the real thick of things. I think a lot of people kind of got that same sort of break with COVID, and you saw like this kind of mass resignation and people moving into different industries and really trying to improve themselves after this type of thing. And solo travel provided the same benefits to me.
Are you oh, you're not from New York, you're from Michigan. So did you move to New York City during COVID?
I moved to New York City in 2017, like early 2017.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was actually I was in South America, and I went to school in Austin, Texas, and then I got a job, and then a couple months into that job, I took a sabbatical. It's crazy to go to South America for 4 months, and then in the middle of South America, I got notified that my job wasn't actually going to wait for me to come back, and they filled my position, and so then I started looking for a new job while in South America. After like freaking out, you don't have a real freak out until you're like in the middle of a desert in Bolivia with like no Wi-Fi to speak of, get an email saying you're fired, have like $1,500 in the bank and another, I don't know, month and a half to go in your South America trip, and realize the job you had built your hopes and dreams on working at doesn't want you, and you're like, freaking out, scrolling on Indeed that like barely loads, and like, what can you do with no experience? Woof, what a time.
And look at you now working on drones.
Yeah, and so anyway, and then I hiked
Yeah.
Machu Picchu, found someone that recommended me to a job in New York, solar energy, renewable energy, and got back. My boss offered me my old job back, turned it down, went to New York. Everything turned out just peachy.
What were you doing in solar?
So I started off as a designer, then I did electrical engineering, project management, and eventually I was just doing the operations management for the company. I just kept having bosses leave. Very, very interesting time to be in solar. It was during one of solar's kind of industry down cycles. Very busy, but also very nerve-wracking for everyone involved.
And then did you go to coding bootcamp after that?
Yeah. And then kind of I took a look around, realized I was 24, 25, and kind of I was the one that was teaching everyone, and kind of running the show, and I was too young, in my opinion, to be doing that. I wanted to be in a room where everyone was teaching me and I was still learning. So I went, I was in a mood to go back to school, did the boot camp. So it sounds like both of y'all did as well, or?
John did a boot camp, which is awesome. I took a $20 Udemy course for design or dubbing for React Native, and then
the front door
worked from there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I tried for years and could not learn programming on my own. I didn't work. That's amazing that you did that.
Yeah, Hugh, the story behind that is Hugh was learning on his own, and then a recruiter reached out to him, and then he just got the first job. Like it doesn't sound possible, but
that's the most amazing thing we've heard on the show. Me being Diana's friend, Hugh learning programming on his own. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then getting the first job that he interviewed for, with kind of like without explicitly looking. And as someone who looked for many months for my first job, that's yeah, I'm happy for Hugh.
I am too. I was in the same boat, John.
Yeah, but it's all good. We good now. And he was doing design now, so he's kind of like, you know, he can do iOS development, he can do UX, he can do products. Like,
Hugh, if you you know, want to join me at my app and also lose money and time, I'm hiring.
I love this. Well, let's brainstorm. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oh man. Well, I definitely think that you could maybe add like a hire of photographers feature and then locally connect to locals, because you on episode 54 is an amazing photographer, and she is one of the many photographers out there that would be top notch to be helping people that you love and support with your app. Just saying.
Interesting. I have not thought of that angle before.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, you know, in the 9 months it would take me to code that feature, I'll let you know if that happens.
Check cool, that. Man. It's okay. I'll take 0.01% interchange fee of everything that you ever do. This is for the idea.
Absolutely. I need. Yeah. I'm giving away percentages like hotcakes.
No. I'm asking for less than 1%, bro. Less than 1%. No,
I want to give more, so you share more financial burden. And
dude, I bet like your Cloudinary, your photo repo costs are so high. But
yeah, a lot of photos, and a lot of like retrieving all those photos to show people constantly.
Oh,
bandwidth costs are big. I'm not currently like monetizing, but at some point when I get enough users, like it's just going to be a necessity to do that.
Are you using Expo? Random Q.
I am. I'm going to give a shout out to Expo for using React Native. That is
Evan Bacon is king.
That is the most amazing like output of a software team I've ever seen. That person is like almost single-handedly carrying React Native into the winning slot. Like
Expo is the future, except the fact that they gave up on the native integrations to the native wallet features, but that's okay. That's fair. I'll forgive you guys.
Yeah, and their pace of like feature development, they're just making everything like out of the box work.
Just streamlined, just like one-click buttons. You don't even have to do like React upgrades to it's all so simple and streamlined. It's so simple.
Can either of you talk about what Expo is? And
for hours, John, for hours. But real quick, Expo React Native is a JavaScript library that compiles down to both iOS and Android apps. So you can write something in React Native and use it on both those app stores. Expo is a layer on top of React Native that basically makes React Native development easy. It does things like setting up your initial project for you, gives you like guardrails for what you're doing. But then as you get more complicated with it, it also allows you to take down these guardrails and really do anything you would normally do, just with a whole slew of extra features, such as hot load, refresh developing like on your phone by just, you compile some code and then you take your phone and you like scan the QR code and the app appears on your phone, and has a crap ton of very tailored libraries that all just work. And so I don't even know where else to, like, there's cool. Yeah, Hugh.
So it's kind of like the Swift UI of React Native, the Swift UI for iOS, but for React Native.
Yeah, I don't know about Swift UI, to be honest, in detail. how it works. I know, like, the iOS and platform has the GUI, the WYSIWYG, the drag and drop code builder tool, which is not something that Expo exactly does. Something that it does is it provides these abstracted high level tool sets that would take a really long time to implement if you were doing it React Native, and or natively on iOS or Android. One of the biggest one being OTAs, or over the air updates, or connecting native packages that you would have to go into the iOS pod files or the Android Gradle files, and to go into the custom Gradle packages and customize all of those integrations to connect to React Native. Expo basically creates all of that pipeline, and out of the box, you press a button and it already has their own backend server that you're pushing your code up to. That's an abstraction on top of everything else. That is their own OTA. So then you don't even have to go through the App Store for iOS sometimes, because that is just such a massive
You can just on your terminal just like press enter a bunch of times and deploy your app in like minutes. Build and deploy your app to the App Store in like minutes. It's crazy. We should tweet this at Evan Bacon.
Dude, after this, I actually think this has to happen. It's just, just thanks again, man. Thanks again, Expo team. Not just that. Ben was saying software, the whole team.
Everyone in that whole community is fantastic. I love them.
You're helping build people towards love, Expo team. You're helping build love of the future because of Ben's app, rankpic. Cuff.
This podcast brought to you by Expo.
Definitely did not get payment from Evan Bacon before this podcast.
We love you, Evan.
So Evan for president, what?
Oh man, the craziest cool fact about that gentleman that I know of is that he's like an expert or master level Lego builder. And
I saw that.
If you look up the stuff he's made with Legos, it's unbelievable. And it's like, no wonder this gentleman loves building and piecing together these puzzles that are Lego pieces in the code world. Just makes
sense. Also like 23. Like
he's a savant.
Yeah, it's depressing when you know.
Don't look at yourself in the mirror after looking at
that. Cool guy. Y'all should see if he would go on your podcast.
I'd have too much stage fright, man.
I'm trying to do this thing where we all have people who like whose work we admire. So for you guys, there's Evan Bacon, and I'm just like trying to get in the habit of like emailing people and being like, hey, like really, really straightforward message. Hey, if you're interested, you can come on. This is what it's about, and like this is the lowdown. Dude, I've been reading into like Vancouver local city politics, just like a weird thing that I've been getting into. And I've been reading this guy's blog who's running for city council. This is a total tangent, but I was just like, I love his stance. Which his stance is basically like, we need to build a bunch of housing. And yeah, earlier this week I emailed him, and I wrote like a very thoughtful and like very brief email. Dude, he responded like an hour ago. I was shocked.
Amazing. Is that not just the best feeling?
Yeah, it's amazing. And like I've read a lot of his like blog posts, and so there's like some context going in, and then yeah, just the fact that like maybe we could help like 1% with like help getting him elected, in an election where like if you have like 500 votes, that could like change the outcome for you, like 500 more votes. So it's like all these little things actually like help a lot. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, all for that.
It's awesome how like, you know, people are like real people. And I mean, that sounds dumb, but just to give an example, when I was studying for my solar exams, for like electrical exams for solar industry, I was reading this book, and it's like a textbook. And then it was like at the end, it like had a phone number of like the person who wrote this, that's like famous in solar circles, with like, if you see any mistakes. And I was like, oh, this problem's not working for me. I think I see a mistake. Gave the number a call just for kicks. And the person answered, like the person who wrote the book is like, hi. And I was like, It's also like doubly embarrassing because when I finally stopped stuttering, like I told him what the issue was. And then he was like, no, you're wrong. This is what you did wrong. And I was like, wow, you're so right.
he's like, I wrote the textbook.
It was so embarrassing. I just like said thank you and hung up. I didn't lose his name. I almost changed phone numbers.
He actually puts his phone number there to tell people how wrong they are. Ben, we have like 10-15 minutes. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I guess I'll just say one more thing about rankpic just to complete the circle there. A question that might be on some people's minds would be, why would anyone in a crowd just rank my photos? I don't go around ranking people's photos for free all day. And kind of the incentive is going to be, or is currently, that when you upload photos in a test, you start off with 0 credits, but you need credits to quote unquote pay people to rank your test. So every time someone ranks your test, you pay them a credit. And in order to get credits, you need to rank other people's tests.
I love that.
Yeah, so everyone's kind of going around ranking each other's photos. And when you see other people's photos, you can kind of also leave them suggestions on how to improve their photos, which is kind of, related to how you see all these people improving their photos throughout the week or over the months with kind of pre-made tags. So that's the full picture of the app. No more rankpic talk.
You heard it here first.
Is there anything y'all wanted to talk about?
The one question I did want to ask when we were talking about community, I know we were jumping everywhere right now, but I guess that's how it goes, was when you were exploring all these different cultures, solo backpacking through Latin America and other places, something that's been on my mind recently is about how cultures and people of all different nations all around the world are very similar yet different. And something that I'm kind of curious on is, when you were exploring, what were some things that might have stood out to you in some of the cultures that were, I just want to learn more about culture, to be honest. And I don't know even where to ask, because I live in a box, right? Like I haven't traveled in a while. I just want to live through you right now for 2 minutes.
All right, let me start. I'm gonna say your box looks very beautiful based on that background.
Photoshopped.
Well done. So kind of one thing that stuck out to me in my travels that I really remember regarding culture is that pho. That's a little weird, but pho is actually a breakfast food. I don't know if y'all knew that.
The Vietnamese noodle dish?
It's a noodle dish.
Really?
So at like 7 a.m., you have these kind of old Vietnamese grandmas with a giant pot of noodles, like just feeding all these construction workers and whoever else happens to be around, office workers. And like everyone sits on these like tiny, like kindergarten plastic chairs, like tiny, like my butt barely fit in it. And like when I got up, chair was still on my butt type chairs. And everyone's just like quietly eating their pho at like 7 a.m. And it's beautiful. And I just think like some of these cultural translations get lost when we bring the food to America. And on the one hand, it's amazing that we have this food here. And on the other hand, even though we have the food here, there's just so much subtext and context to the foods in other locations that I think makes traveling, especially if you love food, just so wonderful.
Wow, I want pho for breakfast now.
That's funny because I've been to Vietnam twice and I did not know that. Like I just ate pho for breakfast, lunch, and dinner when I was there. But
that is my favorite thing about Asia, I love Asian food. I grew up on Asian food. My mom was kind of like a single working mother, so I went to Chinese food every day. And people here, cough, my girlfriend, are all like, you had Asian food yesterday. Like, are you gonna eat, Chinese or Japanese again today? And when I was there, it was food, and it was all food, and I could just eat it every day, and I was so happy.
Haters gonna hate, right? Ugh.
Just gonna hate, man.
Yeah, hey, you live your life. Don't let people tell you how to live your life.
Yeah, you live your life, boo. No, I'm just kidding.
Every day.
Yeah, Ben, I'm curious if there was a particular location that that like for people is not somewhere, it's not like the expected place to go, but like was there anywhere that like really captured your heart? Yeah.
So city-wise, Hanoi was just amazing. I mean, that's where I had that experience. I spent a month plus in Vietnam, and Hanoi was my favorite. And about 2 or 3 months in Southeast Asia, and Hanoi was my favorite over the whole area. And it's just this kind of perfect sweet spot where you have kind of the young kids everyone with their phones, but the young kids really growing up with their phones, technology first. And you have kind of other people in more traditional, like old school jobs, like, you see people walking on the street with their rice hats carrying, rice, and like, I actually don't know what that thing is called, but like the stick with the two kind of like
Oh my
scales.
gosh. Yes, I don't know what those are called, but
Just the juxtaposition of that is amazing. You really still feel that there's culture there that hasn't been totally desecrated by tourists and tourism. And yes, I know that I was a tourist and doing my part to desecrate it, but I can't fix that.
Hey, you're there contributing to the local economy, and you're also appreciating the culture. I'm sure you're respectful, so you good. And my follow-up question is, where are you going next?
If everything, if the stars align, I'm going to be working remote from New Zealand for the month of February, which I'm really excited about. Otherwise, it's been on the list for forever.
that's amazing. So do you just like ask your work? You're like, hey, in February, I'm at work, but I'm gonna be in a bit of a different time zone. Or do you even tell them?
No, I do tell them. I when I took the job, one of the big things was being able to work remote. I was interviewing for this job when I was in Israel for 2 months, kind of working from there at my previous job. So this was very important to me. And my best friend is doing a residency exchange program in New Zealand, and we've been talking about it for 4 years. It's on my bucket list of places to go. It just has to happen.
Oh, I love it. That is so cool.
Y'all should come. Remote podcast. It's a write-off.
So right.
Yeah, you need income to have a write-off.
So true. Everyone keeps telling me like, yeah, RankPic, you incorporated, it's a write-off now, like all your expenses. I'm like, I make no money. It's just what am I writing off against?
Oh man, that's funny. That's really funny. And you only get 25% back too, let's be honest. Pretty much.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm losing money in so many areas of my life right now. Like write-offs just ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah, we're losing money for this podcast as well. And yeah, I think there was a point where I was like, you know what? I will have a podcast budget because I just really enjoy doing it, and it'll be cool to like see where this goes if we do it consistently. And like, yeah, we're having fun with it. So it's like, some people eat at nice restaurants, and some people have a podcast habit. But
Yeah.
Um,
And some people, buy a ton of supplies for like wood projects.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it's the DIY-ness. We're in the builder phase. You got to build. You can't.
Oh yeah.
Builders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here's to the
Um,
builders.
And the one question we like to ask our guests is, do you have any words of wisdom? Any parting thoughts?
I think just, be open and be kind. And I'm constantly surprised by how far just being open and being kind gets you in life. So I hope everyone, including me, can do a little bit more of those too. And that's all I got.
I love it. And also, what is like the website that people can go to for anything you'd like to advertise for? And I suspect RankPic would be that.
So www.rankpic.app is the website. You can also just find RankPic on the Android store or iOS store. Download it. If you're feeling particularly generous, give me a review. That is very helpful. And most importantly, I hope it is helpful just to y'all as users. And if not, let me know how I can improve it.
There we are. RankPic, RANKPIC.
Exactly. RANKPIC.
Awesome. And with that, everybody, hopefully you heard something here for the first time. If not, that's impressive. And we're going to go on from there. So, Mr. Ben Goldberg, thank you so much, man, for coming on the podcast. Really, really so cool randomly. It was just amazing to get to know you and have you on.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for having me. It was a good time. I would recommend to everyone to go on a podcast. Be open.
Be open, be kind, and go explore and build some stuff. So this is, again, everybody, the Moon Tea Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about craft, community, and building meaningful careers. We're here, we talk, we bring on random guests. If you know of anybody that you think would be interested in joining, please, you can reach us anytime at moonteapodcast@gmail.com. With that, take it easy, be kind, be open, be amazing, and tune in next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.